Dearie me. Dearie me. Hello, everybody. It is Connor. Deflated, completely deflated after that. Leeds right in the game, dominant in that second half. Matteo Joseph, big chance. Ball at his feet. Ball comes in. I'm jumping ahead here, but ball comes in, whipped in by Dan James, couldn't get it under his control. Jayden Anthony checks past two players, bends it on target. I'm convinced it's in, hits it over the bar. A couple of really decent corners in, but Leeds lose the game. Conor Gallagher gets it on the back foot. He comes on a little bit later on. They were petrified. They brought on Cole Palmer. They brought on Gallagher. They brought on all the big boys. They brought on all the artillery. And Leeds, unfortunately, exactly like it felt like when we played a poor Chelsea side when we were in the Premier League last time. And Firpo stands out to me because he got in a bit of an argument with Rudiger in that game, and it all kicked off in the corner at the bridge. And it was a real ding-dong, and Leeds, in my opinion, didn't deserve to lose that game. A fantastic curated goal by Leeds United with Joe Gelhardt finishing. I believe that made it 2-2, and then they won it right at the death. And they've done it again, right at the death. They always seem to get out of it against Leeds, and it's so irritating. I did feel it was just coming. I just felt maybe that transitional speed they had with Mudryk, with Jackson, obviously with Gallagher, then getting a little bit further forward. I always thought it was coming, but Leeds were brilliant in that second half, dominated possession, completely in control, didn't look flustered on the ball. I was getting really vexed in the first half. I have to be brutally honest with you guys, and a lot of you will say, Connor, it's Chelsea. In context applied, you are right. But I was getting vexed because by our own personal standards, listen to what I'm saying, by our own personal standards on the ball, with time, space, we were giving the ball away. We were sloppy, hugely sloppy. And I thought at moments in that first half, we were giving Chelsea way too respect when they don't deserve respect. They don't deserve respect all season. They've been diabolical. And, you know, it was brilliant, fantastic for Matteo Joseph to get on the score sheet. I thought it was an excellent finish as well. I know he pressed high, we won the ball back, but we should have scored earlier. Dan James had to lob the keeper, had to score that opportunity. And unfortunately, Leeds just weren't able to have that clinical punch at the end. Obviously, they got back into it. It was sloppy. I mean, Firpo and Cooper on that left-hand side, it's never going to be a good partnership. And Premier League teams, I didn't understand why they didn't target that side more, to be honest. They started on the opposing side, of which featured, obviously, Connor Roberts heavily, and they seemed to be targeting Madueke down that side. But they just were not doing a lot against Junior Firpo and Cooper that side. And sort of the first time they went down that side, they got in. Cooper was slipped, and Melee, in my opinion, had to save it. He didn't, and it went through his legs. And this is the Premier League. Melee, we've been used to. He's going to be facing more big moments like that. And if he is to be a Premier League fixture for Leeds United, a Premier League feature, he has to be doing better in those situations. You know, 65% save percentage is something that we've spoken about on this channel multiple times. In the Championship, in the Premier League, he's going to be under a lot more stress, and he's going to have to do better in those big moments. A save, which in my opinion, he had to make. Cooper shouldn't have been slipped. There we go. And then 5 minutes later, they went 2-1 into the lead. Another sloppy one for me from Leeds United. And you did think, is this going to be it now? Are they going to run away with it? But Leeds started to get back into the game, have a few chances. And into the second half, Leeds came out a different team, a completely different team. We looked energetic. We looked like we packed a punch. We looked completely dominating in possession. We didn't look flustered. We looked press resistant. You know, I like using that phrase, but it is true. Archie Gray was magnificent, absolutely magnificent. The young 17-year-old was dominating proceedings. Ethan Ampadu. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. All you haters who constantly go on about Pascal Strout not coming back and playing centre-back, this is why. Because we've got the best central midfielder in the Championship in our squad. He was unbelievable tonight, and a tier 1 Premier League player. And if he's looking up against Enzo, if he's looking up against Caicedo, and thinking to himself, well, I got binned off for this. You know, I didn't have a Premier League game in 5 years, and I got binned off for these two. He was the best midfielder on the pitch, but him and Archie Gray together were brilliant in midfield. This is what I'm talking about, everybody. When everybody's going at me for, Archie Gray shouldn't be playing right back, Connie, you don't know what you're talking about. This is why, because at the start of the season, we saw his pedigree. We saw his level in that central space. He can do so much damage in there. And Ampadu in centre midfield is better than Ampadu at the back. It is it's so obvious, and I do not understand fans who seem to think he's better at centre-back. He's got more responsibility in central midfield. He's got more technical ability. His one-pass ability is unbelievable. He can do it under pressure. He can use his body to bypass a man, left or right. He's a very, very good footballer, and he is a tier 1 footballer. And when I say tier 1, I mean Premier League. And central midfield, him and Archie were just brilliant. And to say that's not your usual combination, Gruev and Kamara, the usual combination, the height of this squad is unbelievable. And I have to say, everybody, I'm searingly disappointed because of how good we were. I really am. It's gutted me that, because every time we seem to go there, that happens, and I know it's probably only happened once before, hasn't it? But it always seems like Leeds go there and we give a lot above what's expected, and they got away with it again against us, and I'm gutted. I have to say I'm gutted. But we roll with the punches. We're out the cup in the last minute. Conor Gallagher got the goal. He just always seems to have a little bit of a knack against us, doesn't he, Gallagher? Always seems to put up a very decent performance against us, whether or not he's pressing, whether or not he's been playing for West Bromwich Albion before, Crystal Palace, Chelsea, obviously. And he was the one who I really didn't want him to get the goal, but I thought Cole Palmer came on, started creating these little spaces. I actually thought we got worse when Nonto and Somerville came on. I thought both of them were keeping hold of the ball a little bit too long, could have released it a little bit earlier, and they were doing these 1-2s in areas where the 1-2s didn't need to happen. I thought Anthony and toward the back end, James were actually taking a lot of care on the ball. I can't understand the hate Anthony gets. Now, I put a tweet out that Anthony, in my opinion, the reason he's out of this side is because defensively, you could see it in that game, he's not good enough. He's pointing constantly at someone to mark Gusto on that side. You've got to follow your man, Jayden. You've got to follow your man. You've got to be diligent. And unfortunately, he wasn't. I thought going forward, especially in that second half, he looked very, very, very good, very dangerous, and was our main outlet. But I thought when Somerville and Nonto came, Somerville had a brilliant chance, got in the middle, dropped his shoulder, just get the shot off. Get the shot off. Tries to 1-2 it again with Nonto, tries to do a little bit of a feint and a double touch past the Nonto. Just shoot. And it's so disappointing sometimes because I feel like we try and walk the ball in. We try walk it in. There's always an extra pass, an additional bit here and there because sometimes maybe they think it's a bit too easy. But I have to say, I'm ultimately very proud tonight. I'm getting texts through now. Saying, how good is this Leeds side? And I completely agree. I'm wounded. We fully deserved to go through there. They deserved absolutely nothing from that. We were brilliant for 60, 65 minutes. As I said at the start, 30, 35 minutes thought was sloppy. You saw the coming of age of Archie Gray, the coming of age of Matteo Joseph. I'm so happy for Joseph. So happy for him. He's the one. For some reason, I've got a real affinity with him. I love his athleticism, his physicality, his tenacity. I love how aggressive he is. He's a proper centre forward. Cracking awareness for that second goal as well. I'm just gutted for them. I'm absolutely gutted for them that they've not gone through and had Leicester at home in the next round, a chance to get to the semi-finals. And listen, in the video earlier on, I was saying concentrate on the championship, but you don't realise beforehand how dominant you're going to be in the second half, and you don't realise beforehand how close you come to it, and they get away in a transitional moment and we lose focus. Firpo is, God, everyone, he's such a tragic defender. Going forward, he's always an option. He's always on the overlap. He's got cracking fitness, energy and endeavour. But good Lord, his defensive awareness. We saw it against Leicester. We've seen it against Chelsea now. Look, against your Plymouths, against your Bristol Cities, against your Swanseas, it's different, isn't it? It's a different calibre. And you'll all say to me, well, Connor, he's been doing well and now you're hammering him down. I'm not. You've got to look at the long-term projection with this guy. I thought he was okay getting forward, but the ball's in, hitting the defensive man, not getting the ball properly into the box, not getting any lift on those balls when you're on the run, constantly hitting the first man with really good underlaps and overlaps. So going forward, he's a really decent option, but the final product is awful. And at the back, his awareness, he's all over the place. He's tucking in. He's not looking over his shoulder. Man, as you can tell, I'm wounded. I don't want to go in on them too hard, but I just felt it's those moments, everybody, and these moments are going to define us in the Premier League. They're going to define us in the Premier League, and this is why we need 4, 5, 6 investments in that first team, because unfortunately, we had players obviously who weren't available for this game. We didn't even include Rutter, not even a Bamford. and I don't want to too harshly criticise. I'm getting texts all the time here, as you can see. I don't want to too harshly criticise, but we don't want to always be. We're here. We took part. We played well. FC. We don't. And this is a harsher criticism. I thought they were brilliant tonight. I thought a lot of them were brilliant. But it's just those moments, again, that we've seen with this Leeds United side through the past 3-4 years, 2 or 3 years in the Premier League, those moments of concentration, those lapses, they didn't deserve, and I'm so frustrated, they deserved F all tonight, Chelsea. They didn't deserve anything. Yeah, they were good for a 25-minute spell, but, for them to get that one over on us, Poch to keep his job, it's gutting because we played so well. But the moments of focus, again, Cooper for the first goal, it's just the same thing, innit? Meslier, Cooper, Firpo. We know who we're talking about here. I thought Rodon played well. I thought Ampadu was brilliant. Gray was exceptional. I thought Anthony going forward was really, really good. And it's always the same names. Joseph was brilliant, and he's another option there. And we've lost the game now, haven't we? We've lost the game for the first time in a long time. So how are we going to bounce back? We need to bounce back against Huddersfield with a win. But I'm gutted for him. I'm gutted for them. I'm gutted. I've not been this broken in a while, to be honest. It was there for us. Leicester at home in the next round. And as I've said multiple times, I was questioned, did I want to go through in the FA Cup? But that game, I was on the edge of my seat. Couldn't believe it. They didn't deserve it. We fully deserved it. Brilliant by some. Disappointing from others when it comes to concentration and focus, especially with that last goal. So avoidable. But it is what it is, everybody. We go on to Huddersfield. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. You must be gutted. It's Leeds though, win it. We roll with the punches. Shout out to the 5,500 who went down there. Make sure you head on over to the Patreon. Become a YouTube member, everybody. I'll see you on the other side. Gutted.